Hi, my name is Ginger, and 3 weeks ago I had my stomach removed due to the CDH1 gene mutation, and I was going to write a blog to kind of tell how everything happened and what I felt and what helped and what didn't help, but I'm 3 weeks out and I just can't get myself to write anything. I don't know. There's this disconnect between me and the computer writing with I don't know. Maybe it's temporary, but I didn't want to lose the information because who knows who in my family or who else out there might be interested in knowing more, like kind of day-to-day process. So I've kind of blown that since it's week 3, but I can back up a little bit. And so I'll do some videos, which sounds kind of funny to me, but I'll do some videos on how we got to where we are, how we found out what was going on in our family, decision making, surgery, finding the surgeon, and then post-op. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about this fall, 2016. We found out basically right around the 1st of September, maybe the first week of September, that there are 3 girls in our family, and our younger sister was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So that was tough, surprising. The odd thing is that 3 years ago, my older sister had been diagnosed with lobular breast cancer, which we found was odd because we don't have a lot of cancer in our family. And then, so in the process of them trying to find out, Dee Dee is my younger sister, finding out what type of cancer she had, what the primary was, they had her do genetic testing because they were having a very hard time figuring out what she had. And of course the test came back, CDH1 positive. What's that? Look it up, blah, blah, blah. Remove your stomach. What? You can't live without a stomach, can you? You know, that whole shock. I am still a little bit in shock, but that's kind of what led us on here. So Dee Dee was positive. Unfortunately, they're not able to do surgery on her, so she's doing chemo, and they still have not definitely identified her primary source of cancer. It's not 100%. They think maybe it's pancreatic, but there's still a gastric element in there that they don't understand. So that's Dee Dee. Sawana got tested next. It's an older sister. And yes, it's one name, Sue Honor, long family name story. And she tested positive. I got tested. I tested positive. And on it has gone. My mother got tested. She tested positive. My mother's sister tested positive, and that's about as far as we've gotten right now. And I don't know who's calling. I'm going to ignore it. So see, it was nobody. So my mother tested. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at this. Hopefully those of you who are watching this actually know me and kind of get it. But anyway, short end of the story, my sister and I were initially faced with this idea, do we have this stomach surgery or not? We don't really have a definite history, family history of gastric cancer. Then we started thinking back, well, my grandmother, our grandmother, did die of a cancer, which at the time they called colon, but she'd been sick and they couldn't identify it, and then they found something in the colon, so they decided to call it colon cancer, it sounds like. And her mother also died of something very similar, but this is back before good testing methods and that sort of thing. So, you know, when you're faced with this decision, someone tells you that you have a 60 to 80% chance of getting gastric cancer and then it's going to be late stage cancer when you find it. it's like, okay, you think you have a choice, but you realize you really don't have a choice, but you just go through the motions of making the decision. When you have a family who relies on you, and you have sisters and you have nieces who might need you, there is no choice. So we both decided to do the surgery, and we both decided to go to Memorial Sloan Kettering and use Dr. Yun, which is a great choice. And I can talk a little bit more about that later, but you know, the whole process of going, just this unrealistic moment where you realize that your life is going to change forever is pretty shocking. But when you spend time with a family member who has stage 4 cancer and a very uncertain prognosis and is suffering through chemo, it's no choice. I feel fortunate, as does my sister, for having this option. So, yes, I'm still recovering, and yes, it hasn't been a lot of fun, but the alternative is, for me, not acceptable. So, that's who I am. I live in Oregon. We have a farm. It's a lavender farm, which is great. Got 2 kids, 13-year-old and a 16-year-old. A wonderful husband who is doing all the work around here right now. And I'm feeling lucky. So this is probably long enough for the introduction, and then I'll try to catch up. I'll go through choosing the surgeon, and I'll go through pre-surgery stuff, and then surgery stuff, post-surgery stuff, and try to get caught up so that I can just kind of do a day-to-day, this is what happened today. Thank you if you're watching. I hope this is helpful. And yeah, bye.